So practice at Guntersville, this is kind of, well, a lot of people don't know about Classic practice. It's kind of a stretched out practice. We had 3 days of practice a week ago, and then a few days off, and then we have 1 day yesterday, and then tournament starts tomorrow. So we've had drastic change in conditions. It was like high 20s, low 30s with highs in the 40s for the early practice, and then all week it's rained 2 inches a day. It's been 65 degrees, and water's got a little dirty, and they've started pulling a ton of water because of all the rain. And I think it's going to change the fish a little bit, because most of the fish were still, I'm not going to say in their wintertime places, but they were pre-spawned, but pretty early pre-spawn, I think, last week and then to practice. And the warm water is definitely going to pull some fish up. But the one thing that's kind of, in my opinion, is going to hold them is, I think the water level is almost more dependent on them coming up than the temperature of the water. The water did warm up, but in factor for all the heavy rain, TVA's pulled the lake down about a foot. And I think it's going to make the fishing a little tough and not as many go to the bank. And what I've seen this practice is, I wouldn't say I've had a terrible practice, but it hasn't been good. I haven't found that special school of fish. I've caught quite a few fish, but I'm catching them one at a time. Every now and then, I think maybe 3 or 4 times I've caught 2 in a row, which what I like to find on these type lakes is you can catch a lot of singles like that scattered out, and you can catch a massive bag, catch them one at a time. But you need really one special place where you can go start a limit or end the day to finish out a limit or cull a few fish, and hadn't really found that this week, at least that I know. A couple places where I caught 1 or 2 I didn't really pound on, but I've had a lot of trouble finding schools of fish. It's like I'll fish down an entire eelgrass bed for 400 yards and catch 1, and then maybe a quarter mile later after an hour catch 1 more. So that's been the kind of weird thing for me this week, is I'm lacking the schools of fish that I can usually find here in the pre-spawn.
What do you think it's going to take to win in each day?
So I believe on Guntersville, you're always talking 20, I believe, at least. And I think this time of year with the warming trend, I think it's going to help the fish bite a little bit. I don't think it's going to move the fish real far, but it might help them bite some. So I'm saying in that 22-ish a day to win. I don't think you're going to see somebody consistently 22 it, but I think you might see a high 20s and then back it up with a few teens, things like that. So I think it's Guntersville. You're looking in the low 20s a day to win, probably 66, 67 pounds maybe a little less if we don't really know what this front and this weather is going to do. The drop in water, I think, is the one thing that's keeping it from really lighting up. If with this weather, if the water had came up or at least stayed stable, I think it'd be a slugfest, which it probably still will be decent weights, but I think it'd be better if the water would stay stable. But we'll catch them. Somebody will catch them.